Hey everyone, we are live, and guess what it is today? It is Fire Day, and I am super excited because we've got another badass woman on the other side of the camera, so to speak, and she's coming to us all the way from Portland, Maine, and her name is Mary Teresa Tringali. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And you rocked my last name. Very good job.
I'm super excited at our practice. So I asked her a little bit before we went live. My biz bestie, Brandy Holloway, isn't here today, but she's here in spirit because she is online with us. So she will be dropping questions and comments too. And I just want to double check that it is live, and it is live. So we are good to go. So a little bit about Mary. We can also, she gave us the flexibility, Mary or MT. Go ahead and drop her comments, but I'm going to give you a little brief about who she is and really what she does. She is, well, she says that she is currently a resident of Portland, Maine, which is super exciting, and she's working full-time as the manager of events and sponsorships at Winter Kids. She also, though, runs her own show as a transformative events coach and strategist. Oh my goodness. So everybody is dying to know, what is that? What does that mean? So tell us just a little bit about what you do both for Winter Kids, and then what is a transformative events coach and strategist?
All right. So at Winter Kids, which is a nonprofit that's based out of Portland, Maine, it's all about getting kids outside and active in the wintertime, because up here in Maine, it's a very cold, long, dark season. I am part of the team that helps raise funds and awareness for the organization. And my main job is to run the fundraising events. We do an auction in the fall. We do a big 24-hour ski and snowboard challenge, which is amazing. So if anybody's interested, come to Maine. I'll take care of you and come help us with this event. It's an awesome event. And I've been in events for about 15 years. It started with, we'll get into our history, but it started with my infatuation with weddings. But really what I loved about weddings was not the fairy tale of getting married, but the actual little details that made every single wedding just a little bit different and personal for the couple. So that's actually that was my gateway into events, is that I just really loved the little details that made every event more like an experience. So through the years, I've sharpened that skill set. And what I realized not too long ago is that I know what I'm doing. It's been about 15 years. I know how to put an event together. And I went to a conference called the Summit of Greatness. And when I was there, I started just talking to people about what I do. And they started to say, oh, well, how do I put on an event like this, but for my industry? And I started to answer them. I had all the answers. And so once I realized that, I got home and I said, you know, I really know how to put an event together that can make that something that people don't know how to do. I know how to put a big, impactful event together. But then what I realized as I started to really investigate that is that what I love to do about why I love events is that I love that they are more of an experience and that they'll change your life in some way. And so what I've really tried to focus on, besides my full-time job, but even my full-time job has that piece to it, that I'm creating experiences that will change lives for people in some way. And so what I started to do is focus on becoming a coach and a strategist for coaches, entrepreneurs, healers, who all have at the center of their business that they want to change other people's lives. And I want to help them create experiences that will do that. And so I work with coaches to do everything from figuring out their mission and their vision, to budgeting, to strategizing ticket sales, to sponsorship income, to day of producing the day of, timelines, volunteers, the whole thing, and just going from step 1 to step 100, and just supporting them along that whole way.
Wow, that's amazing. So we've got lots of people watching right now. Hey everyone, if you are watching on My Personal Place, please go, and we want to push you to the Girls on Fire page, and this is who I want to give a shout out to. We've got Kristen Jocelyn, just an amazing chocolatier, let me tell you. Brandy Holloway is watching. Danny Brinson. Amazing realtor in the area, Alicia Ober. Again, she helps you migrate past loss. So Love Over Loss is her website. So I want to give a quick shout out to all the ladies that are watching. Thank you so much, ladies. That's amazing. And you know, I can relate, and I know Brandy and I can both relate because we have what we call our Girls on Fire Network socials that happen every month, and they are an experience. It's not. We don't network. We say we heart work. It's an experience. Right. It's you're going to, you know, get information, to connect, to collaborate, but it's an experience while you're there where you are left with going, I have to do something. I have to come back. I have to meet this person. I have to call this person. I have to. And that touches me on a video perspective too, because for me a video is an experience. It starts and it rises and it goes down, but it's this experience. It's a full circle experience. So yeah, I want to know from your childhood, like, was there something that you always did as a child, where you always found yourself like piecing things together? Were you always like bringing people and doing plays together? There's got to be something. So tell me about your childhood.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that. I was first of all, always the entrepreneur, right? So I was always selling my friendship bracelets on the side of the road and selling lemonade. I always came up with these schemes for 95 cents somewhere here and there. But I definitely brought together a little babysitters club of me and my friends trying to organize that. But I would say the thing that got me when I was younger, that started to help me really understand that experiences make a difference, even just years later in your life, is we used to do ski weekends and we used to do camping trips. And these ski weekends and camping trips were always with my parents' best friends and all their kids. So it was like 25 of us getting together, having a ridiculous weekend of some sort. And there are some of those weekends from when I was 5, 6, 7 years old that I still talk about because they were that impactful. And yes, they were just fun. There was no strategy put behind them for us to like have those moments. But those are moments that I will never have with anybody else. I'll never have them again. Even though we went camping again and again and again, you never have the same experience twice. And the magic that happened in those moments that helped us all remember those amazing moments are what connects us all even till this day. And we're all of us kids from this one particular group, we're spread out throughout the country, really. But when we get together, which isn't often, we're always able to come back and have those conversations about those moments. And so that's really where it started for me, that I understood the power of experience. But one event that really changed my life, where I understood how it can up level my life when I learn and grow and allow myself the opportunity to take action after experiencing that event, was in high school when I went to this event called for the opening ceremonies for an organization called Skills USA. Hugely impactful, big, huge 12-foot by 14-foot screens, music, lights, the whole thing. And it was a big celebration of I went to a vocational high school. So it was a big celebration of vocational education, career and tech ed. And it allowed, also what was happening was that there were these students that were on stage that were being showcased. And they were on stage, they were giving speeches, looked beautiful. And it just gave them the opportunity to stand tall and impress all of us. And I just thought, I remember just being impacted completely. My vision, what I was hearing, what I was seeing, what I was feeling from the people around me put me into this certain state of, oh, like, what's happening here? I was just a little bit more excited. And when I saw those students on stage, I said, oh, I want to be them. I want to do that. And it just started this snowball effect, really, of me just growing into this leader at such a young age. And ever since then, I've just been all about creating experiences. But that's everything from a ski weekend with my friends in college to, this 24 hours downhill ski event that for 500 people, to a road trip down the East Coast with Magazine and Porsche and and everything in between, red carpet events. And it's just been this incredible opportunity to just make experiences and memories and an opportunity for growth. And it can happen from you just meeting a new person on that ski weekend who becomes your significant other or becomes your future business partner or becomes your best friend, to you actually being introduced to a challenge that will ascend, that you take on when you leave, and it changes your life, which is something that's happened to me. So yeah, I think that was a little bit more than what you asked for, but
It was amazing, and I know Brandy can relate, who's online. She actually says, "Gotta stir their soul in some way." And
yeah.
you're right, when we have those experiences in our life, I don't remember a lot of my childhood, but what I remember is, I remember to going to Four Corners, where the four states align. I remember putting my hands and feet in each state. I physically remember the
That's right.
emotion that went with that, and I was 8 or something, and my little hands being all stretched out. I remember, like you said, the emotion that came with that, and
That's
the
right.
memory that came with that. And that's wonderful, because you don't know where life is going to take you. You don't know where you're going to meet someone, where you walk in the door. In fact, side note, and I have the squirrel syndrome going on, but Brandy and I mixed and mingled last night at an event in a local hotel called the Maine here. And we walked in and we met two random women at the bar, and they left an imprint on us because they
Yeah.
told their story about why they do what they do. And it was just like you said, you never know like what's going to
That's right.
trigger, who you're going to meet, where you're going to walk through that door. So for you, I saw you've worked a lot of fantastic places. I think one of them was even Women's Day magazine. And
Yep.
and is that correct? A
Yep.
lot of places, and all along the line it seems like the event has been part of that journey. The experience, as you say, has been part of that journey. Now, was there one recent job in the process that really stuck out, that something just happened where you were like, I am destined, I have this calling
Yeah.
to do this?
Yeah. So just a really quick background. I went to college in Emerson College in Boston. I stayed in Boston and worked at a Best of Boston restaurant as their catering director. But all my friends were in New York City, and I'd always dreamt of being there. So I literally picked up my life and moved. And within 2 weeks, I landed at Women's Day. And through 4 years of working at Women's Day, I worked my way from sales assistant to the integrated marketing manager. And that's really where my foundation of events really came from. And we did incredible events there. We did red carpet events. We did these, I did a lot of sales meetings, which are like little retreats, but for a sales team. We did this event where we took a caravan that was wrapped in Women's Day stuff, Women's Day branding, and took it all over New York City and then all over the country. But then I moved on to Men's Journal right after that. And Men's Journal was where I got to do events in Vegas and Vail and Aspen. And I created a pop-up store for our holiday magazine in Chicago. And I did that 3 years in a row. I did this road trip with Porsche down the East Coast, which was insane and still one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done, and one of the things I love to talk about the most. And then after my time in New York, I moved up here to Maine, and I started working at the our statewide newspaper called the Portland Press Herald. And one of the last events that I did there, it's so funny you asked that, because it is exactly what happened. I had jumped ship, if you will, to start a life as a freelancer. I hadn't quite jumped yet, but I was in the process of jumping. So this was my last event that I did there. And basically, high school sports in Maine are a very big deal. We celebrate them in a big way. People go crazy for them. And the newspaper had always done some sort of celebration. But in the past, it was this small little banquet where we just honored the best of the best swimmers, the best football players, the best tennis players. And we wanted to really up-level that and turn it into something great and amazing that celebrated high school sports in Maine. And so we initially thought, let's do the ESPYs, but for Maine. And so my boss, who was just an amazing person, she really let me run away with it. And we basically transformed this college gymnasium into an awards auditorium. We had these big, huge screens. We had amazing sound. And what we did was we honored different kinds of athletes, not just the best athletes, but all different athletes at all different levels. And what that event did was we had the same kind of thing as the ESPYs. We had a red carpet and we had 5 nominees per category. So these categories weren't just the best of the best. It was the academic ace. It was the clutch player. It was best team spirit. So it really honored all different types of athletes. You didn't have to be the cream of the crop. And the way you were selected as a nominee was people nominated you from your community. And then our editors chose the top 5, and then they selected the winner from the top 5. So we had 60 high school students come, and they got to walk a red carpet. They got to be interviewed by fake paparazzi. They all got swag bags worth $500. And then we created these amazing videos to introduce them, just like they would at the ESPYs or the Emmys or whatever. And for some of these students, it would be the only time in their life that they would be honored in that way for their sport. And it still gets me so excited, the idea of it all. And there was one girl in particular who had been nominated, and she had severe autism, and she at her school brought a school bus of fellow students. They all wore t-shirts in school colors, and we put them right up front. There were 48 people. They had the most people come from their school, and she ended up being a winner. And when she got on stage, we had all these custom snowboards made with their name, just like they do at the Kids' Choice Awards, where they have a surfboard. Yeah. We did custom snowboards because we're Maine, and they had their name and their category, and she got to walk away with this snowboard. And I don't know if she'll ever receive another award like that, or if she'll be honored in that way, but if we had done things the way we always had, she wouldn't have been. And this was her opportunity for her to be celebrated as a nominee, but also celebrated as an amazing athlete in Maine. And I remember that moment when I saw her on stage, and after all those hours of hard work, I just remember this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to create opportunities and experiences for people that will change their lives, because I'm sure her life was changed after that moment. And maybe not just her life, maybe her family's life, maybe her best friend's life, maybe people at that school who got to witness that entire experience, maybe their lives changed too. Maybe somebody who's not even related to her at all, maybe they got to witness that and their life changed in a little way too. So that's what it really made such a difference. And it also showed me what I'm capable of, because I really was the lead on that event. They let me do whatever I wanted to do, and I was able to really spread my wings. And so I was able to see that I was good at doing events. And then the other thing that happened after that was that there was this new organization that was forming here in Maine called the Maine Women's Conference. And I joined it. It was a 100% volunteer board of directors put together. And I joined the board as a logistics chair. And soon after I joined, there was some leadership changes. Some people stepped down. And suddenly it was, okay, if we want to make this thing happen, somebody has to step up. And I happened to, like I said, I was freelancing. And my cohort, who was my other logistics chair, she said, you know, MT, this event is going to be huge for whoever steps up to take the plate and be the president of this organization. And I did. I stepped up, and I ended up having to lead a group of women through this process where there was only one other person on this board who knew how to do events. And I led them through this process of creating an event from the ground up. We had nothing. We had no money. We didn't even have that much support. We had like each other, and that was it. And we had, I mean, I couldn't have done it without their tenacity to keep on going when I begged them to keep on going. But we eventually created something that's going to be a bit of a legacy here in Maine. And we're about a month away from our second event. But the difference between the first event and what's happening with this second event, it just proved to me that I know how to do events, but I also know how to teach other people to do it too. And this is my second term as the president, and I'm stepping down after this term. There's a new president coming in. And I was talking with somebody the other day about how am I feeling about stepping down. And I said, I'm feeling really, really good because I helped create this solid foundation for the future. And I think that is actually my secret sauce, is that I have the ability to do it. I have the ability to teach it. And when you do it right the first time, you create a really solid foundation for incredible growth. And what I'm so excited about is watching these ladies take it away and build it into so much more. And so between those two events, it helped me see that I'm really good at what I do. I love to do what I do, and I can teach other people how to do it. And I think that between those two things, it's really helped me kind of narrow in and see where this entrepreneurial journey will take me once I'm done with my time at Winter Kids, which is no time soon for anybody who works there is watching right now. But had to put that in
She's
there.
like, I just want to put it out there. I'm here. I'm still going to be here.
Yeah.
But that's such a gift also, though. Like, that you can do an event yourself, but you're passing along the knowledge, you're passing along the tools, you're passing along your story, your journey, your passion to others. And it's such a beautiful experience to watch. If all intents and purposes, the pun intended, birds start flying. At some point, you give them a little boost, and the wings start to flap, and you start to fly, and what do you tell people? Because in all these times, in listening to you, like I said, it is an experience, and it's something you've learned, and I want to relate this to other people in other businesses. Like, I hear it even in my industry and other industries, they say, it's too hard, I can't get it, but things take time, things take nourishment, things take patience, and social media takes patience. You didn't get to be an accountant just overnight. You didn't become good at being a finance guru, or even in your case an event guru or branding guru or whatever, a mindset coach. You didn't get to be where you are just overnight. What are the tips and tricks that you can tell people, because it's been a journey for you, and a wonderful journey, and a wonderful story? How do you express that to the people that you coach and uplift them, because it's an uplifting process?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say, and if it was about coaching somebody through this process, is that a lot of people come to me when they first start talking and they're like, I'm going to make $50,000 off of this event. I have the budget. I know this is what's going to happen. And the first thing I want to say is slow your roll. And I think that we need to define success for your event in a different way. Because if you're only going into this to make money, you're going to be disappointed. And I would just say that anybody who's out there saying that you'll make a profitable event after your first year, I would love to see that. I've been in events for a really long time. It doesn't happen. But what you have to do when you're stepping into the idea of doing events, which you should really consider, especially if you're somebody who wants to help change people's lives through whatever it is that you do, you have to understand that it like everything else takes time. But if you do it right the first time, you will get there within 3 to 5 years. If you are able to turn a profit on the first year, then I commend you, and I would love to learn about how you did that. And I'm not talking about you just sell a whole bunch of programs and that's how you make your money. And maybe that's what you're saying about selling $50,000 off the first year. Great, awesome. If that's how you're making your money, great. That is one of the business strategies that I teach. But just through ticket sales and sponsorships, you may not get there. And you may be making a personal investment in your first year. But if you're willing to work on it and you are willing to invest your time and your energy and a little bit of your own finances within, The best example I have for you is that our main women's conference, we were dollars in, dollars out. As soon as we made $1 on a ticket sale, we were spending it on a sign. We were spending it on a keynote speaker. We made just enough money to pay for our first year event, and we didn't even realize that was the case until the event was over. So we actually thought we were all personally going to be putting some money into this event during the event. This second year has been so incredible. Our sponsors were signing on before we even had a date for the next event. But that's because we took the time to do it right the first time. And by took the time, we took almost 18 months to do the first event. And now our second event is coming up. We took another 18 months to make sure we set ourselves up right for the second event. But I am so confident by year 3, they're going to be on such a roll of bringing in amazing sponsors, tons of ticket sales, that they're going to be able to continue to grow this thing. So when it comes to events, you have to be, just like everything else, really patient and open to getting feedback and understanding that every strategy you put in place may not work. And you just have to be open, just like your business. You have to be open to trying something, seeing it won't work, trying something else, seeing if that works, until you get yourself into a rhythm. What's happened with our group is that everybody knows their role. There's, I think, 13 of us now. Everybody has a role. There's 13 people working on this event. Keep that in mind too, is that you shouldn't be doing it by yourself. This is a team effort. So if you are a solopreneur, be ready to get a team of people to help you through this process. And if you want to do it right the first time, you have to get a team of people. You can't do it all on your own. It's just not going to be setting yourself up for success if you do it all on your own. So I guess that's my biggest piece of advice. As far as it goes with, if you're talking about, if through my example of how long it's taken me to get to this point, it took a long time for me to figure out exactly where I wanted my path to go. But the tip I would have for you there is to be open to seeing how the universe shows up for you, and seeing the different people that come into your life and say, oh, how do I do this? And start noticing how you have answers for everything, or start noticing where you don't have answers for things. And that's what happened to me, is that I just realized, oh, I actually know how to do this. I had to go through the experience to say, oh, I not only know how to do this, but I know how to do it well. And it could turn into this something else. So that's the best advice I would have. Is I've always been open. I've always listened to my heart. I ended up in New York because I had a song in my heart that kept saying, go to New York. And then I ended up in Maine because, again, I had a song in my heart that said, it's time to go home to Maine. So, and that's really the best advice I would have for somebody in that form as well.
You know, there were a couple things that you touched on that I want to reiterate to the people that are watching. I want to reach out again, Jen Launick. She is our director of events here for Girls on Fire Network. She is watching. We still got Kristen Jocelyn. We got Danny Brinson, Alicia Ober, Brandy, and anyone on my page, please come over to the Girls on Fire page. I'd love to give you a shout out. The two things that, you said a lot of wonderful things, but the two things that really stuck out was teamwork, and it does take a village. It does take a village to put on something big, and we have to realize that we don't know everything ourselves, and that's why we lean on other people. And we have to love and accept those people, that's their specialty and that's their strength and that's what they bring to the team, and not get intimidated, because we have that thing. I think we all have that, you know, where we see another videographer, we see another accountant, we're like, oh no, I can't talk to you, oh no, oh no. But each person has their own forte. Each person has their own expertise. And not only that, but you can learn from someone and collaborate with someone that knows something more than you do in your area. So I think what you hit on teamwork and putting aside your own insecurities, you know, listening to others, being open, being really open to hearing feedback from others is crucial, is really critical. But I also picked up on something, and it was investment. Because you talk about the experience, and when you go to a live event, it is just that you are hitting every sense that you possibly can. Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and they leave an imprint on us that we can remember. Like, I can't remember necessarily everything that happened during my high school graduation, but I can remember the big bright beach balls that came out that weren't supposed to came out of everybody's pocket. And as everybody was running, that were the authorities going, no, 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 no beach balls. And we're all hitting the beach balls.
Exactly.
So it's sensory, right? You talk about the snowboards. I mean, it's a sensory experience, and you have to invest in that. You have to invest in those type of things, because all those things, you know, I almost think of it, because I'm from the theatrical world, I think of it from the terms of theatrics. I just took my kids to The Lion King, and they can't remember the whole premise of The Lion King because they had never seen the movie, honestly. But they
Wow.
could remember colors, and they could remember beats of the song, and so it's a very sensory experience. So I love the fact that you talk on investing back into it to make those memories. So can you talk about more about the sensory approach to an event?
Sure. It's such a great way to say it. I First of all, I'm somebody that when I go out to a restaurant and I say, "Oh, I had the best meal last night. It was the most delicious." Da, da, da. I can describe the whole meal, and my friends will say, "Great, where'd you go?" And I'll say, I don't know the name of it, but it looks like this on the outside. It feels like this when you walk in. So I've always been somebody, I'm a tangible learner. I see and feel. So the whole sensory experience has always been where I've led from personally. So, and I think that that's really where the interest in events always started for me. Like I said, it was always about the details. It was always about the little things that made the day special for people, not necessarily the whole idea of marriage as it is. So I think that, you know, you don't really realize how those little things make a difference with events until you don't have them. So I am all about signage. I believe you cannot have enough signage at an event. If you have a huge budget for signage, then spend the money on that, from the decor of the stage to if you have a whole bunch of keynote speakers, get big poster signs made of them, because those all automatically not only lend to the visual experience, but what people are thinking about. So I'm somebody who, when somebody's on stage talking, I like to have a little program. So as they start telling their story, I can look at their program and read their bio as well, so I can understand a little bit more about them while they're talking to me, because not every speaker is getting on stage and telling their whole entire life story. So I always like to have a little more information about. And then, I'm sorry, I think I froze here.
That you're okay. You're
And
good.
so,
We got you.
okay, great. So so to me, then you start thinking about like the food, and also remember that. But if they're crappy food, you remember that as well, right? So then what ends up happening to people who show up, and they are, let's go back to that investment piece, they're investing in you. They are trusting you that what you're promising them, you are going to deliver. So you want to make sure that you're giving them everything that you've promised and more. You want to over deliver, right? So everything, every detail counts. And if you don't have something, so for example, I go back to that signage. If people walk into your event and there's no sign, or let's just say it's at a hotel and they walk in and there's no signage anywhere that says over here for this event, and you know, at a hotel there's 10 different conference rooms or 10 different ballrooms. If there's no signage, already people show up and they're like, and you know that people are already showing up like, I don't know if I want to go to this event. I don't even know these people. I don't know anybody there. I don't, it's weird. It's a subject my therapist told me I had to go, right? So people are just like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. When you have signage, whether it's a person or an actual big poster sign that says, you are here and you're supposed to be here, go this way, it automatically calms them down, right? Because they'll say, oh, I'm in the right place. Oh, I'm supposed to go over here. That's just the first step. So you really have to think about, from the whole sensory, the details, it's the little details about how are you going to take care of these people now that they're at your event. right? And that includes signage. It includes having really good food and not really crappy food. It includes making sure they feel taken care of, having plenty of volunteers around who can answer questions at any time, making sure you're communicating with people throughout your event. There's all these different ways to make people feel safe so that when it comes time for them to be open to the opportunity that the universe is going to give them for change, that they are feeling safe and able to do so. So that's really where I come from on that sensory level. I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. You know, I had never thought about the safety issue, but you're right. There have been countless events, from small events to big events, where you walk in very nervous and wondering, because you're not sure what to experience. You're not too sure, you know, you don't know anybody. And those little bitty things to put someone at ease, you know, Brandy Holloway and I, we do have people with us that stand in the front at our monthly socials. We do the same thing. We greet everybody. We want to make sure we're shaking their hands. Even the people we know, we give them hugs, because that, you can tell the body language just relaxes, going, oh, you're right, I'm here. And it's all going to be okay. And the safety thing, I had never thought about the safety or that aspect of it, that making people feel at home, as you said, that this is where they're supposed to be right now, that we've got you, that we're going to comfort you, we're going to care for you, we've got you 100%, don't worry, we got you, and we're not going to lose you. And there's been a lot of times, like I know that when people leave from our socials, they have that look like they had us. They helped us through all of those insecurities and things. So we're gonna take a break from this, because I'm gonna do what we call rapid fire questions real quick. Okay. I want people to hear all the stuff that we haven't talked about. I know, we're gonna throw you on the spot for just a minute. So, quick questions.
Okay.
My favorite, wine, beer, spirits.
Wine.
Ooh, Brandy, she's a wine girl, baby. She's a wine girl right up your alley. So now here's also, though, since we went down the wine spectrum, is it a red or is it a white?
Well, I'm a rosé girl in the summertime.
Oh.
And then in the wintertime, in the wintertime, I'm a red in the wintertime, but summer is rosé all the way for me.
So, Brandy, she's right up your alley. So what I think it means, Brandy, Jen, also, if you're on still, that means we got to take a road trip up to Portland. And we got to go snowboarding with this wonderful woman. So then there's wine, and there's snow, and there's snowboarding. I mean, and the best, I mean, we got the best of both worlds. So, and then here, because I've never been to Moyne, you have wonderful seafood. Is that correct?
Oh, the best. The best, the best, the best. Fresh, right off the boat. Best lobster rolls. Oh my gosh. And I love a good excuse to to spend some money on a lobster roll. So please, come on up.
So since we hit on entree, I think I already know your answer. Are you for the entree or for the dessert?
Oh, well, that's a hard one. I do think entree, because I could do without a dessert, but if the entree is like, I'm good.
So favorite Portland, Maine entree then? Because I've never been. Favorite entree?
Lobster roll, definitely. And if you try and ask me where to go, I have like 10 places, but lobster.
So describe this, because we talked about all those senses, because I've never, ever eaten a lobster roll. So please describe this to me so everybody could be mouth-watering right now. It is lunchtime here in Hampton Roads. So mouth-watering. What is a lobster roll?
Okay, so first you get a really good, if it's a hot dog roll or, some sort of like potato roll. There is this one place that does like a sticky bun. It's so good. But they take it, let's just go with a classic hot dog roll, and they'll butter it on both sides and make it nice and grilled and warm. And then the lobster is all picked apart. So it's like little pieces of lobster. And there's so many different ways to do it. There's, like a lobster salad with mayo. But there is this one place that you basically decide on your own what you want on it. So you can get butter or ghee, or they have this awesome lime aioli sauce. You could do it with a sriracha sauce. There's all different options. And it's just, the lobster is just I just don't know how to. It's just delicious. You're talking to a girl who is the granddaughter of a fisherman, and I've been surrounded by fish my whole life. And lobster, I'm one of those people that'll boil that lobster on my own and pick it apart on my own, and I love every minute of it. So, but being able to have a nice, big, huge lobster roll with some really good French fries is just like it's everything.
Oh, well, now I've got to go I've got to go find something local. Either that or I'm taking a road trip to Maine with Brandy. So, and Jen and Carly. So we're all taking a road trip.
Okay.
How about this? Cat or dog?
I'm not really either. I grew up with cats, but I didn't really love them. And I grew up as a newspaper carrier, so I was chased by dogs. So I'm not really a fan of either, but I don't know. I have issues with, I just like, I don't know. Not to say that I wouldn't have one if somebody else wanted to take care of it, but like, I got enough to take care of with this one. So with just me.
So because we talk about branding with Brandy, how about this? Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn?
I love Instagram. I'm very visual, as I said before. So I love Instagram. I love seeing beautiful photos of people doing amazing things. I love to keep up with my friends that way. I love seeing what they're going on. I have a great group of girlfriends, and we're all spread out throughout the country. So we mostly keep in touch on Instagram so we can like literally see what each person is doing every day. It's really fun and awesome.
Awesome. So we have a couple feedback right now. Let's see. We have Jen Launek says lobster. And she said it just like that with a whole bunch of H's at the end, lobster. Brandy says, I have never been to Maine. Yes, we are going. We are going, girl. Danny Brinson says, I love Maine, lived in Bath, is what she said.
Yeah.
And
nice.
Alicia Ober says, it sounds delicious. It does sound delicious.
Yep.
And you're right, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook are fantastic. I'm a LinkedIn and Facebook gal. Brandy does all three. I also am on Instagram. They're all different for different reasons, which is amazing. So we're getting to the end. So I want to leave with a tip for someone that is either doing a very small event. It could be small, just like a group of women coming over, a group of guys coming over, whatever, to a very large event. What's the biggest tip, I think, that you could leave anybody that just, to get them going on the right path?
Definitely, you have to start with a solid mission statement, vision. Do not do anything else until you have your mission statement in place. And the reason I say this is because every decision you make, whether it's for 10 people or 10,000 people, every decision you make has to come this one simple mission statement that is solid, that every time you talk to somebody different, whether it's a potential ticket buyer, a potential sponsor, somebody who's going to help you promote the event, you have to be saying the same thing to everybody. If you start mixing up your messages, people are going to get confused, and then they're going to say, I don't even know what this event is all about. And if your message that you're saying verbally is not the same as what's on your website, it's even more confusing. So you have to do the work to come up with a mission statement that you're proud of and that you can stick to at the very beginning. Do not do anything else. And coming up with a mission statement that you are really, really feeling good about could take a little while. It could take a couple days. It could take a couple weeks for you to think about it and really feel comfortable with it. It's just like you don't come up with a mission statement for your business in 2 seconds, right? You do that. You take your time with that. Same with an event. And then take your time to work through a vision, what you actually want it to look like. How many people do you want there? What kind of speakers do you want there? And it's almost like it's a real visualization exercise, just the same as you're trying to figure out what your life looks like. You want to do the same thing for your event, because that is going to impact every other decision that you make. When you get to, well, what kind of a venue do I want? You're not going to look for a venue that can seat 500 people if your vision is to have 1,500 people there. So that's why my tip for and I say this all the time in every video that I do and every post that I do, it's your mission and your vision that is the most important 2 first steps.
Perfect. So everybody online that's watching, again, we want to thank Mary Teresa Tringali for her time today. So MT, where can they find you? Because we want them to connect with you on social media. So where can they find you to listen more, to see your journey, to see your story, to really connect beyond just this Fire Day?
Great. So on Instagram, it's my whole entire name without the hyphen, so Mary Teresa Tringali. And then on Facebook, Mary Teresa Tringali, and then I do all of my promoting through my personal page. I do have a free Facebook group called Successful Live Events for Coaches, and I've been doing some daily live trainings. I'm taking a little bit of a break from that right now, but if anybody's posting in there any questions that you may have, I will try and get in there and post some answers. But it is your opportunity to get some free coaching, or for me to answer any questions that you may have. I am on LinkedIn as well, so we can connect on there as well. I'm a little less active, but I know I need to get into being more active there. And then I also have my website, maryteresatringali.com, where I have a blog that I update on the weekly, and it's just tons of tips and information for planning your own event. But if you have any questions, or you're thinking about doing your own event and you just want to talk a little bit further, I do a free 60-minute strategy session that I would love to connect with anybody and anyone who's interested in seeing if an event is right for you. And I'm telling you that if you are somebody who wants to create change in somebody's life, events are the way to go, for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again. So for everyone that's watching on the Girls on Fire Network, we are so thankful that you're watching and tuning in today. Anyone that's on my page, please, again, thank you. Thank you so much. Please drop down some hearts for this lovely woman. Please connect with her. Again, Mary Teresa Tringali, an amazing woman, an amazing coach, a wealth of knowledge. Please go out and reach out to her. I'm Vanessa Lane. Brandy Holloway has been watching online. We are so thankful for her. Please go ahead and follow Brandy and I as well if you aren't connected. Vanessa Lane, CCO, the Phoenix Factor and Girls on Fire, and Brandy Holloway. She is the founder and the creator of the Phoenix Factor and Girls on Fire. Mary Teresa, MT, we are honored and blessed that you've been with us here today. Thank you so much for your time, and be on the lookout, everybody, for this highlight on all the platforms, and be on the lookout to see who's next up for Fire Day. Thanks so much, MT, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.